Go follow me over on Instagram for more content. I'm doing a giveaway at 3,000 followers. Thank you. Back in 2021, the Cincinnati Reds were not too bad of a team, actually, finishing the year over 500 and third in their division. Unfortunately, the National League Central Division is arguably the worst in all of baseball, and so the Reds missed out on the postseason, but it was still an impressive season with promising potential in large part because of the new guy, Jonathan India. The 24-year-old rookie went out and hit really well for the Reds, swatting 21 homers and 34 doubles, going on to win the National League Rookie of the Year award. Again, the Reds had some promise. That is until they traded a good bulk of their offense while letting Nicholas Castellanos walk in free agency to the Phillies. So, on cue, the Reds were terrible the next year, in 2022, losing 100 games and finishing 4th in their division. It was ugly. As far as the offense went, it was not good, and as for India, he'd have a sophomore slump, hitting well below league average along with only popping 10 home runs, and having some injury issues too. So what about 2023? Well, the Reds are at least looking like they can have a much better season than last year. The offense is much better, and Jonathan India is back to his Rookie of the Year ways, being right in the thick of the Reds' offensive success. He's been really good, and beyond just what he does with his bat, he's also actually a leader in the clubhouse. Believe it or not, but the 26-year-old Jonathan India, who's in just his 3rd season, is looked at as a leader and important voice in the Reds clubhouse, as his teammates absolutely adore him. Joey Votto is of course the man in Cincinnati and has been for years, but with him having been out this whole time, India has been that guy, with veteran catcher Kurt Casale saying, quote, "He's the guy that picks out everybody for having a good game after we win. People listen to what he has to say. If he's the guy that's going first, the people who follow better bust it as well, because anything less is unacceptable. He definitely can be a vocal leader, but he's definitely a leader by example." Going on to add that the Reds always feel like they're one swing away from being able to change any ball game, and that India does a great job of setting that tone. So he's young, has years of control left on his contract, is really good. What's not to love about this guy? The Reds have a really valuable player on their hands, yet there seems to be some sort of an issue. It's kind of a good issue, if anything, as it has nothing to do with really any negatives, but rather there being so many positives to the point where Jonathan India may be forced out. I'll explain. But really quick, if you're part of the 70% of viewers not subscribed watching this video, make sure to hit that button, thank you. The Reds just recently called up Matt McLain to be their shortstop, a promising 23-year-old prospect with pretty high expectations, and he's had a really nice start to his big league career. The Reds also currently happen to have who is largely looked at as the best prospect in all of baseball, Elly De La Cruz. If you haven't heard of this dude, let me just say he is absolutely insane. I'm gonna be completely honest with you though, I had no idea this guy existed until just about a few days ago, but it didn't take me very long to realize just how good and promising he really is. He was recently named the #1 prospect in all of baseball by ESPN, is top 3 in every other ranking, is being called a switch-hitting Fernando Tatis Jr. with upside, hits the ball harder than anyone, throws harder than anyone, and runs faster than anyone. Sound familiar? Well, to me, that sounds like Oneil Cruz, the Pirates' massive young shortstop who got hurt earlier this year, but Oneil Cruz doesn't even switch hit. So Elly De La Cruz, the Reds' prospect, is being compared to Fernando Tatis Jr. while also hitting, throwing, and running as impressively as Oneil Cruz. Those are two really good things to be compared to. His plate discipline also improved greatly in the month of May down in AAA. He's got pop. I mean, the dude just has everything you want in a baseball player. 5-tool future superstar. At least that's what people are thinking. So what does any of this have to do with Jonathan India? Well, with the way De La Cruz has been hitting, he's going to be called up at some point. He just has to be. He's been too good to stay down in AAA. He's ready to be tested at the big league level, and when he gets called up, he'll be an infielder. When down in the minor leagues with McLain, who of course is now up with the Reds as their shortstop, De La Cruz and McLain alternated at shortstop, as McLain would play second when De La Cruz was at short and De La Cruz would be at third when McLain was at short. Matt McLain is looked at as a much better defensive second baseman than Jonathan India, who according to most advanced metrics is a below average defender while also not having a great arm. That's probably the biggest issue with India, if there is one. So you can't really move him over to third or shortstop because his arm isn't made for it. So of course say bye-bye to any outfield experiment. At least that's what one would obviously think if his arm isn't too strong and he can't even play third or short. You could maybe have India continue to play second while McLain plays shortstop and De La Cruz goes to third, but there seems to be even more players in the works here as well. Spencer Steers, a 24-year-old rookie, is doing really well and plays first base, so India doesn't really seem likely to go there. Christian Encarnacion Strand is another top prospect in the organization, tearing it up in AAA so far this year, so he'll eventually be up. And you also have Noel V. Marte, who's also tearing it up, but in AA, so he'll be on his way up to Cincinnati relatively soon as well. So the point is, the Reds are still pretty much in the process of a rebuild, trying to develop and build as athletic, young, and talented of a team as possible, and there are a lot of moving parts to it. It's basically a really good problem the Reds have, as they have a lot of good young players in the system, whether they're up with the team yet or not, and it's making some believe that Jonathan India could be the odd man out, or in other words, traded. Right away when you hear that, it sounds kind of dumb considering India has literally been their second best player this year. That's one way to look at it, but the other way you can look at it is that's exactly why you trade him, because his value is so high and you have multiple young players who are expected to be better who are ready to replace him. If I were the Reds, I guess I'd really try and find any way you can to keep India in your lineup. But with all this upcoming talent, it seems like it may not be easy to do that. So maybe trading him will be the right option. I don't know. They don't seem too eager to trade India, though. According to MLB insider Jeff Passan, the Reds are indeed getting some trade interest in India, but aren't anxious to move him. That's how things stand right now, though. Things can change in a heartbeat, let alone within the next 2 months before the trade deadline. As far as what India himself thinks, well, he's of course not stupid. He understands what's going on and realizes things like this are part of baseball. Quote, "It's part of the game. There are always guys behind you. Always. If I just play well, it won't matter. That's all I can do. Play my best and make the decision tough for them. If it comes, when it comes, I'll see what happens. All I can do right now is stay present, play my position, play hard for my team, try to win ball games. That's it." End quote. It will definitely be interesting to see how this all plays out, but one thing is clear, and that is that the Reds have some really good talent that they want to see in their infield soon. That includes arguably the best and most promising prospect in all of baseball, and if that means trading away Rookie of the Year Jonathan India in order to make that happen, they just might do it. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.